So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, everybody. I hope you've had a great lunch and a great morning with the various sessions here at the WISE 2019. My name is Sulaiman Ba. I'm the Community Engagement and Outreach Coordinator at the Education City Mosque, which happens to be part of Qatar Foundation. It's on the other side of the campus, a beautiful signature building that looks like a spaceship. Do visit us if you get a chance before you leave Doha. And I'm very thrilled to be here with you moderating this third session, Pitch It session today. So this session brings together 6 founders, teachers, and thinkers who are reimagining ways of teaching and learning today. Each speaker will have 5 minutes to pitch their education solution to you and the 4 members of the jury. I'll introduce them shortly. Each juror will then offer some feedback and advice. After all the speakers have presented their projects, the jury members will select the winning one. On today's jury panel, we have Ben Nelson. Raise your hand if you're here, Ben. Yes, everybody can see Ben. Founder and CEO of Minerva Project, a reinvented university experience. Yasmine Ouirhane is right here, the newly recognized Young European of the Year, 2019. Joysy John, Director of Education at NESTA, and Syeda Malaika Rizvi. Love that name. A student at the Lahore Grammar School, Defense in Pakistan. So we're going to get started, and we'll introduce our first speaker. Our first innovator today is Emad Saif, the founder of Play Meetup. Please join me in welcoming him up on stage. Emad. Good time, we'll start.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Emad Saif. I want to ask you a question. How many of you have had a really meaningful conversation today? Put your hands up. You know, the ones where you feel really connected, you feel you're listened to, you feel engaged. That's what I'm talking about. Today, unfortunately, because of technology and bad use of social media, that really affected how we connect with people. You can look around everywhere and you find people on their cell phones. It becomes really easier to reach out to someone, to reach out with your cell phone than actually say hi to a stranger, someone you don't know. We changed how we communicate. It became more about abbreviations, BRB and LOL, instead of having really meaningful conversations. We use our touch devices, but we lost touch with what it's like to be human. And if you look on your LinkedIn, you may have thousands of connections, but how many of these are really meaningful connections? That's a challenge I face personally as an educator, as well as when I train or teach at the university. The students today and the people in general are lacking the skills of how to connect with humanity. So I thought, what can I do to change that? About a year ago, I became certified in a process called Lego Serious Play. This process is combining methodologies from neuroscience, behavioral psychology, business, and a lot of other disciplines. This essentially allows us to utilize our brain, our hand connection in a much better fashion. If you see people playing with this method, you would see people building models, metaphorical models, that have deeper representation. And with that, you're actually essentially giving a challenge to the audience, the trainees in this case, and they build models using their hands, and then the meaning emerges as they do it. So they're unlocking deep meaning. It's a very different way, but very human way that actually allows us to tap into our deep potential as humans, and we can connect more effectively. So I've done a lot of training, mostly for corporate. I've used that training for helping organizations and teams to become more creative, to be able to connect better. And there was actually amazing output from all this. I've never seen anything in my life as a trainer, something so effective. People bond so quickly. It's very human, it's very natural. Doesn't matter if you're an introvert, if you're a shy person, everyone gets it. So I thought, what if I can tweak that method to apply it so the mass public can actually take advantage of this method? And that's what happened. That's how Play Meetup was born. Play Meetup is basically a weekly meetup that we'll be doing for about a year and a half now in Doha, where strangers who don't know each other come together, meet, and they engage into building, storytelling, and unlocking deep meaning. The results are amazing. These are just pictures of this week where we had at Doha Learning Days 2 sessions, one of which was about family play. We helped parents and children reconnect using Lego. So now they discovered using the sense of touch, things about them that they didn't know, and it was really remarkable. I couldn't believe the testimonials I've heard. Some people are very emotional. It's like, my mom, I didn't know that's what she thinks of me. We never talk about our relationship. It was really inspiring. We also had another one on mindfulness. So every time the topic changes, and that's we attract different people to come and learn and use, basically it's all about experiential learning. I've had the chance also to do Play Meetup in different parts of the world. When I traveled on vacation, I always have Lego with me. So I had a chance to do it in Morocco, in Turkey, in Jordan. Whenever I am in the airport, I pull the Lego and see who wants to play. Can strangers, those who are on their cell phones, can't they just drop the phone for a second and just connect with people? So that's the vision I'm having, is that with Play Meetup, we're able to make a difference. Today we have a growing community in Doha. So we've doing this now for about a year and a half, and some of them are actually here with us today. So there are people that I personally connect with over Play. And my vision with Play Meetup is that everywhere in the world we should have more people playing, using that science that is forgotten, our natural way. Because we have forgotten what it's like to be human and how to connect effectively. And as you can see, we discovered from doing this, a lot of experimentation, that strangers plus play equal friends. And play here is not any random play, it's serious play. It's a method that we follow that helps people gradually open up and trust each other. And what we've seen at the impact from this was huge, that people now regained their skills of communicating more effectively. They're more empathetic, and they're more willing to help. So after each session, people saying, I want to offer this, I want to do that. So other Play Meetups happened in different areas like therapy and different things. People are meeting in Doha to meet. So my goal is to show you this project, and hopefully I can get the support to grow and make everyone play together. Lastly, Plato, an attributed quote, said that we can learn about a person in 1 hour of play more than a year of conversation. So let's all start playing and take care of our conversations. Thank you.
Much, Emad. Thank you. Yes, keep the mic. Yes. So you heard the man. Why are we still here? Let's go play. I'm kidding. So basically, your project sounds very interesting, but let's hear what the judges or the jury have to say. I'll give the jury 4 minutes. It's not going to allow all of you to speak. It's maybe 3 out of 4, but we'll play it with the time.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Can you just talk briefly about the mechanics of the meetups? Is there a fee to join? How do you make it sustainable?
Yes, it's actually quite strange. I make a post. I have a lot of followers on LinkedIn and also on Instagram. So I say, for example, this weekend we have a Play Meetup, and this is a topic, and only 8 strangers will be selected. So I have a form that people fill up, and I choose people, just try to make it as diverse as possible, depending on the topic. Sometimes we have a brother-sister, we have a mother-daughter, depends on the theme. And afterwards they apply, we select them, and they come in not knowing what the agenda is. They don't know who else is coming. It's complete surprise. And I'm always astonished that they come to something, they don't know what the agenda is, they don't know what's going to happen, they know it's something about fun, Lego, and somehow it works.
Thank you. Just to give a feedback, I really liked the way you presented the project. The question, very catchy at the beginning. My question for you was, the training that you provide, I think they're for professionals. So do you have specific techniques? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Being certified in the Lego Serious Play process, there's like a huge binder that we follow. This is for training. So depending on what the client wants, we don't provide, it's not a consulting, we don't provide a solution. What we actually do is we design the method so that people's emotions, mind, ideas, they all fill it in. But with the Play Meetup, it's quite different because I'm breaking all the rules. I'm trying to explore and see how can this be used in a different application in order to tackle that challenge. Because I think, me personally, that only the people who can afford that expensive training usually is not available to the public. And I want mothers, I want families, I want everyone to start playing together and really overcome this loneliness and depression that a lot of people are facing. Even though they're holding phones, they look like they're cool and happy, but I bet everyone would love to drop it and just have some serious fun.
Thank you. It was very well presented. I have a quick question just to clarify. It seems like it's a free thing that people can come and play. So what support do you need to scale this?
I mean, I've done it for a year and a half with my full-time job as a lecturer at the university. It's really taken a lot from me. It's with the help of some of the volunteers here who always show up and support me. So the support is Play Meetups itself. Everyone who plays is potentially someone who can help. They can contribute. We've had, for example, a big event that was completely sponsored. It was zero budget. People came in and said, I can give you the venue, I can give you the food. And that's the collaboration that we need in the community. But what I need next is I am hoping, ideally, if someone from the WISE community or someone who can create actually a play lab where people come in and experiment, because first they're skeptical. They think play is just, it's child play, no purpose. But once you try it, nobody leaves. I can ask anyone who played Play It Up, they don't want to leave after because they feel really connected with everyone.
Thank you.
Hi. First of all, I really liked your idea. It's really cool. I just have a quick question. Do you target any specific audience, or is it open for everyone?
Yes, anybody's welcome, any age, except we found from experimentation that children below the age of 8 will not be able to build things metaphorically. So that's the thing I saw. For example, we had one on family just this day, the one I showed you in the picture. This one, for example, we had to limit the age to be 8+, because that's just from validation. It doesn't work. Above that, it's nice because across all ages, across all nationalities, and when I did it even with people who barely spoke English, they're still able to build and express themselves. That's the power of using your hands and connecting it with your mind.
You have 20 seconds left. Anybody wants to go? Going once? Thank you very much. That was very concise. Thank you very much, Emad. Our second speaker is Nayla Fahed, from a CEO of Lebanese Alternative Learning, an NGO that aims to give all children access to quality education through digital content. Nayla, please join us on stage. And your time starts now.
Okay. So hello, I'm Nayla, the co-founder and the CEO of Lebanese Alternative Learning, LAL. LAL is an edtech NGO who provide digital support, free digital support program and access solution. So we have a team of pedagogical and technological experts who works closely together to produce school support program. But also because we strongly believe that education is not complete without art, culture, environmental awareness, civic education. We have developed an extracurricular platform called Tabshura Plus. So our platform is called Tabshura. We have Tabshura Plus, the extracurriculum platform. And to provide our content to remote area, the technological team have produced this tiny, using the Raspberry Pi technology, have produced this tiny server. So the programs developed by the pedagogical team are uploaded on this micro SD card. We put the card in the box. The box produces a hotspot. The hotspot allows 30 devices, so a whole computer lab, to use digital resources completely offline and off electricity because we can connect the box to a power bank. Why do we do that? Because we witnessed that digital made the gaps between privileged and underprivileged school even more accurate. And because we really think this should not be the case, we think that digital should help supporting areas where the education is stressed, which is the case of Lebanon, especially after the outbreak of the Syrian refugee crisis. And we also saw that a lot of cooperative initiatives have put into school computer labs, devices, but they are not being used because of the lack of adapted content and access solution. So how did we do that? From our field experience, because we have a team of educators who often went into the field, from our field experience, we listened and we tried to adapt our solution to the needs. One thing we listened from teachers is that we have obsolete curriculum. Our Lebanese curriculum is obsolete. It's 30 years old. We do not have adapted resources. We are underpaid, overstressed. And people come and expect us to use innovative digital resources. So we decided that our program will be very simple. We will take the Lebanese curriculum structure and we will innovate in filling the progression gaps and adding analytical, creative skills in it. But we keep the same structure like this. Teacher, learners, they connect, use the program without trying to find what is the right resource for this right chapter. Listening to the field also, we overheard tech solution saying we have spent so much for this technological solution. we cannot change it. So we will do a part 2, a part 3, and the impact will not be much bigger, but we will spend more money, and the money will not be used in a proper way. So we decided that our solution will be simple. So the Raspberry Pi is very low cost. And so if we have new technology, if we feel our technology is not corresponding to the need anymore, we will change technology. It's not costly. Our plugins also allows adaptation. A third thing we heard in the field is that, and you should have often heard that, let's not reinvent the wheel. Let's bring ready-made content elsewhere and use them in the country. Well, I would tell you, fortunately, we did reinvent the wheel several times to adapt it to the change of vehicles, to the change of roads. And we strongly advocate for, yes, taking relevant resources from the world, but also creating our own resources, because we strongly believe that we have a cultural heritage, we need to promote it. We have an identity that we need to promote. So yes, curate some of the content, but save our each one's cultural heritage by creating your own content from within your identities, from within your country.
Just wait for the questions.
Okay.
I'm going to start the time for the jury.
Thank you. Could you just explain a little bit more about the format in which the content is? It just readings that you are providing, or is there more of a presentation layer of the content, or is it just static?
So as we also advocate for open sources, because we think education should be shared among everybody, we use only open sources systems. So we use a learning management system, which is Moodle, in which we have incorporated very creative Norwegian plugin called H5P, which allow at least 50 ways of producing content. So our content is highly interactive, and our methodology is a discovery methodology, so a constructivist methodology. We always start by a document, be it something to read, something to see, something to listen, something to compare, diagrams, and we guide the students step by step. We focus on self-learning, so we guide the student step by step to discover by himself the concept, but while giving him a lot of feedbacks on every step he will, and then doing small summaries. So it's completely interactive, not PDF, not static.
Thank you. So we heard a lot about the what of your technology, but I would like to hear about how do you operate, for example, in these remote areas that you mentioned. Do you have partners, or do you directly work with your team in centers, and how many there are? So I would like to hear more about the how. Thank you.
So in fact, we have partnership agreement. We have one partnership agreement with our Ministry of Education and Public Schools, CERN. So they validate our content. We train their trainers, so their trainer could train their teacher, so the teacher can use Tabshura in the class. This is the way it works in Lebanon. Hopefully we are changing this. We also have agreement with NGOs, INGOs, and private schools. What we do is capacity building for the teachers on our tech solution, which is like a 2 hours, on our methodology, and then support them through the whole process, depending on the school. Sometimes we go only one time after that, sometimes we go 10 times.
Fantastic solution to a problem, and just one feedback is you start with the solution. It would be much more engaging if you started with the why and the problem. Like I absolutely get what you're trying to do. I was just wondering, in terms of scale and in terms of, you spoke about some of the partnerships that you have in place, like what's the cost for producing this, and if you were to take it to another context, what support do you need to make that happen?
For your first remark, it's because it's so much used to start by the number of refugees in Lebanon, how much we are receiving, how much of students are out of school, so I decided not to go through this. what becomes a norm is to start with the problem. So I decided to go back. And for the second question, yes, our solution is scalable as the plugin we use and the platform we produce is flexible, adaptable. We can translate very easy some of the content we have. We can produce content. In fact, we have promote a co-creation department in our NGO. And the idea, because we strongly believe in local content, so the idea is to partner with others to co-create with them the content they want to put by using our model. So, and also because we promote open sources, if the partner bring the specialist, if he brings a developer, if we only teach him the knowledge, we will only take a small amount for the time we spend on teaching him. We will give everything we have for free. If you want us to develop, it depends on the content, on the length of the content. We will hire somebody. Either we pay him or you pay him, just to keep very transparent on what we are doing.
Thank you very much, Nayla. The time is up. Thank you very much to the jury as well for their feedback. And yes, thank you. I'll introduce our next innovator, Lusanda Magwape, founder and CEO of Dream Factory Foundation, an organization which empowers at-risk youth with the skills they need to lead successful and purpose-driven lives. Please join me in giving her a warm welcome.
I'm a Xhosa young woman from the hills and the valleys of the Eastern Cape, South Africa, a land that I like to call the land of leaders because that's where Nelson Mandela was born and raised. But in 2017, my husband had the notion that he wanted to go back to his home country, Botswana. And so in my curiosity, I began to figure out this new environment, and I discovered some interesting facts. That only 1 in 2 young people in Botswana make it and finish their secondary education. Now, some of the major causes for that is pregnancy, its lack of finances, and also not having an appreciation of the value of education. And so this has also resulted in a major problem in Botswana at the moment, which is that 1 in 3 young people are currently unemployed. And yet when I did the research, I discovered that dropouts can be prevented if you use programs, after-school initiatives to train young people to have a positive view of their future prospects. Specifically, when you use authentic learning environments, you can improve the learning outcomes of learners. And so through an interesting events, one of them being I got stung by a bee for the very first time in my life and actually met a bee farmer, a young woman by the name of Belinda, who not only connected me to the land that she had, but also to the Ministry of Agriculture, who are now our greatest partners in the region. And so, through conversations, we birthed the Emergent Youth Academy. Now, before I tell you what this is about, there's 3 major focuses that we focus on. Firstly, we focus on low-income and rural communities. Secondly, we are focused on the north of Botswana because there's so much disparity in skills transfer taking place in the capital city, which is Gaborone. And so we are positioned in the north. And also, the north is the gateway to SADC. So to be able to scale, this is our opportunity to be able to link up to other countries around the region. And thirdly, we focus on girls and young women because they are the most vulnerable to school dropouts. So we work with in and out of school youth. We work with the Ministry of Education to be able to access these youth, and through a 6-month period, these young people are trained in the farm, and their learning subjects that they learn in schools are brought out of the 4 walls and out of the textbooks when they engage on the farm. So through experiential learning, these young people get to live agriculture, get to live the environment that they're learning, in the classrooms. And also, they have access to nutritious food. And thirdly, we're inspiring the next generation of bee farmers. Now, the other group of youth that we deal with are out-of-school youth who, through an application process, they are trained by facilitators on entrepreneurship, on professional development, as well as digital skills. And again, because we're using authentic environment, also experiential learning, they are then placed in jobs, including working on the bee farm, where they actually practicalize the things that they've learned in the class. Now, we launched it this year, and our impact so long has been that we've been able to reach 500 young people in school. And with the unemployed youth, we've been able to empower and train 62 unemployed youth, who I'm proud to say that 8 out of 10 of them have already received economic opportunities after the academy. Now, we're here today because we're currently working to raise $25,000 to be able to build indoor facilities, toilets on the farm, as well as to be able to put a water supply, so that we don't only, because we sustain the project by selling the produce from the farm, we don't want to be to just rely on natural rain, but to actually be able to dig a borehole and be able to access reliable water supply. And so through that, we'll actually be able to then reach out to 1,100 in-school youth, as well as employ 25 unemployed youth through this initiative and raising this investment. So I thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you, Lusanda, and thank you for keeping to the time. I will stress the time because we would like to finish early. I think there's another event that's happening afterwards. So let's hear what the jury has to give us feedback.
As you look at this model, how broadly do you think it can scale beyond this initial investment? Meaning, could you replicate it easily in other parts of the country or other parts of the continent?
Yes, I'm already looking to work with the Department of Education and Ministry in South Africa, the Eastern Cape. So I'm basically looking at landscapes where farming is can happen, because we want to focus on using farm-based education to be able to train our learners. So it is something that needs strong support. That's why we work with the Ministry of Education and Agriculture to not necessarily buy the land, but to have access to the land. And so the funding we're raising is for the capital, what is needed on the farm, as well as to actually run the program, so it is replicable.
Just wanted to say, very well presented, both in terms of the structure, but also the passion around, the problem you're trying to solve, what your solution is, and what your clear ask is. So very well done. Just a quick question around, why did you pick bee farming? Why farming agriculture?
It's those two circumstances. I literally got stung by a bee and I met Belinda. And so it is literally circumstantial, but it's a circumstance that led to this project. So it's such a weird question, because that's literally what happened.
Did you have any experience in bee farming or agriculture before you did this, or it was just the bee stinging and seeing a land?
Well, now I'm learning, because it was actually a divine call. I mean, from the bee sting, I didn't think bee farming, but it was through meeting Belinda, who is the bee farmer, then I really got interested, and now I'm attending workshops to learn more about it. Actually, even before I came here, I was at a farm-based education workshop in the US, because now I'm like, I have to learn. But Belinda is the one that's actually the expert on the farm. Yeah.
And how do you select this? Sorry.
No, it's not.
How do you select the students who are in school or who are not in employment to be part of this program?
So the ministry is the one that directs us. Botswana is very formal, so they're the ones that lets us know which schools can be involved. And then for the unemployed youth, they apply. And so we're able to take in 62.
Thank you. Very well done.
Thank you.
Great innovation, I think.
Thank you.
Perfect. You just bought some time. Thank you, jury members. Our next speaker is Emiliana Rodriguez, co-founder and education director at Atentamente, a Mexican organization that helps teachers to cultivate well-being for themselves and for children through social and emotional learning programs. Let's give her a warm welcome. Emiliana? And your time is going to start now.
Hi, good evening. My name is Emiliana. I'm education director at Atentamente. And we believe that if we want to promote well-being for ourselves and for children, we need to focus on its emotional dimension. And this is very important because now children grow up in a world where mental disorders are a big deal. 300 million people suffer from anxiety and from depression. We also experience violence, inequality, the problems that will come with disruptive technologies. And so how can we help children to thrive, but also to flourish in the midst of all these challenges? This is a question that me and a group of friends asked around 7 years ago, and we decided to create Atentamente. We bring together the knowledge, the scientific knowledge of the mind and the emotions, together with the knowledge of education and the values of empathy and compassion, to design, to implement, and to evaluate programs to cultivate emotional well-being. And so what is emotional well-being? It's an inner sense of calm, of connection, of purpose, and of clarity that stays with you even in the midst of adversity. And this is quite innovative for education because historically we have tried to achieve well-being through material means. But we know that you can have everything materially, that you can be healthy, that you can be surrounded by people who loves you, that you can have a very successful job and still be depressed, be stressed, have greed, to the point to hurt yourself or to hurt others. On the other hand, if you can regulate your own emotions, if you can connect to others through empathy, and you can make responsible decision making, then you can be resilient, but you can also flourish. And the good news is that emotional well-being is a skill. You can actually cultivate it. We developed a 4-pillar approach to do it that we call the ABCs of emotional well-being. So we first train the A for attention or awareness, to be present and calm in the world. Then the B is for benevolence or big-heartedness, to connect to others. The C is for clarity, to take a wide perspective of the world, but also of your own minds and your own thoughts. And D is for direction, or a sense of purpose. We have been able to bring these principles to more than 20,000 teachers in Mexico and 23 million 23 million children through the public educational system. And now, after all this learning and experience, we have crafted a program that is designed for early childhood. This program is called Educating for Wellbeing, and it's a systemic, scalable, sustainable, and evidence-based approach for cultivating emotional well-being through social and emotional learning skills. We focus first on the well-being of the educators so that we help them to deal better with their stress, but also to cultivate social and emotional competencies so they are able to model these competencies in the classroom, to improve the classroom climate, but also to effectively implement social and emotional learning curriculums, especially for children. Moreover, we also help them to promote a change in the school culture. We know that when these ingredients are together, then this can be an effective tool to reduce the gap of inequality, to prevent violence, and also to prevent mental disorders. So now we know that we have a very powerful tool to change the culture from the inside out. We want to grow this project. We want to bring these tools to every child in Mexico, but also beyond. And for this, we need your help by helping us with funding and connecting us with leaders who can also benefit from our programs. The change starts from the inside out, and we can help with that. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Emiliana. Your project sounds amazing, so let's hear what the jury has to say.
Thank you. I found your presentation very dynamic. I would have maybe reduced the time on talking about why it's important and more about how, which is very interesting, the way you, and the metrics that you provided on how many teachers you could train. My question is, how do you reach young people that are potentially less likely to be reached and to understand that they have a mental issue going on or an emotional need. How do you reach these people?
Yeah, so actually this program is a preventive program. So we know that many people, for example, many young people in Mexico that suffers from depression, they are not even able to talk about these problems. We are not even able to talk about emotions. So we think that we bring a culture where emotions, people are self-aware of emotions, they know how to regulate it, they can also ask for help better. And then to reach the people who already have a disorder, then it will be easier for people, for teachers, for example, to identify the problem because they know about it. And then they can treat it with a psychologist, right? But this is prevention. Thank you.
Hi, I think you've highlighted a very important issue. However, can you tell me what you're doing to implement emotional well-being?
Yes. So what we're doing to implement it is a program that has 4 main parts and objectives. So we help teachers, principals to develop their own social emotional learning capacities through an introductory workshop and then an online training. And also we build capacity in states so that we can scale the program and have a systemic approach through creating a leadership group. So they also receive training on how to model these capacities, but also how to help all the system to actually change and to bring the programs to schools. Mm-hmm. Welcome.
Thank you. That was really well presented. I was just wondering, what is the evidence that you've collected that this method has had the intended outcomes?
Yes, we had a chance to evaluate this program with a third party, implementing it with 2,000 principals and teachers in 5 states in Mexico. And we initially measure pre and post outcomes from social emotional learning, changing in mindsets in the participants. But the third party was able also to go to their schools and to actually make observations of the results in the community and in children. And they measure the social emotional competences in children and teachers, and that was improving, and also the reduction of stress and frustration, and also the teaching efficacy in general, but in particular for applying social and emotional learning curriculums.
Thank you.
Nobody else? Thank you very much, Emiliana.
Thank you.
Please give her a hand. So our 5th speaker is Harold Dumour, CEO of OVA, a company which produces products and content related to virtual and augmented reality. Please give him a warm welcome to the stage. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
you all. Just gonna start my slideshow. Okay, perfect. Oops. Good. Okay, finally I got it. So hi everyone, I'm Harold Dumour, founder and CEO at OVA, and today's a good day because I'm going to talk about StellaRx, which is using artificial intelligence to build virtual world. So how you can co-create with AI actually. In the next slide, I'm showing you that it's a long process to develop nowadays by programming VR and AR. So you need to be skilled. Because of that, we have developed an immersive content creation tool where you can just drag and drop your 3D objects on your space. It's collaborative or single use. So there is a creator mode, just like that. And there is also a visual scripting tool. So for the non-programmer here, just by visual scripting it, you can create your own world. So it's as easy as like that. It's almost like the Legos of VR and AR. It's something WYSIWYG, what you see is what you get, but also zero instruction interface, so you can talk to your AI. About AI, we build up on machine learning, object detection, so it's based on voxelization. There is a high accuracy result of finding the right object and also suggesting what will be the next one. And because of that, you can, after that, just ask to your best buddy, please, StellaRx, can you create me some background over there? There is some parameters, but procedurally speaking, it will co-create with you. It will add grass, trees, or whatever you have in your mindset. It's like the Alexa of VR. And you can also bring it to augmented reality. So mixing up your real world with hologram and co-creating in the same way. So now we are 26 people. We have different backgrounds coming from Google AI, Facebook AI. We went through Vivex, Alibaba Group, Deloitte. But most of all, we have on our board of advisor, Timothy West, which is the number 2 of Unity Engine, and also Paul Doyle, which is a director of Unreal Engine. So just like Minecraft enabled actually 70 million of people to become 3D content creators, we want our tool to help 100 millions of them. So all that universe are the metaverse that we have created with StellarX. But the 3 that we are the most proud of are the one we have done in the healthcare sector for mindfulness. I mean, they did it with our tool. Also in the defense sector for training and simulation, and in the aerospace sector. So you saw the inside, this is the outside. When they want to collaborate together, everyone will put a headset on their head and they will join them, each other inside the world. I can be here in Doha, you can be in Montreal, where I come from, and you can use interactive tool like showcasing what needs to be done, taking some notes, showing instruction about what are the next step in this learning session. So it could be really educative, and this is how it looks like when you will see someone else. So this is 2 avatars collaborating with voice over IP. So they can communicate through their, actually it's pre-integrated inside the headset. And you have access to virtual tools. So it's not about just placing objects. It's also accessing the tools that will help the learners of the futures. So that's the updated version. At the first videos you saw that it was mainly the tech demo. So this is really how they use it within the Royal Canadian Navy. So it's a simulated world that they have built up with our tool. You can see the primitive, the 3D objects. It can come from your own library, but also from the internet, such as Sketchfab, which is a 3D marketplace, or TurboSquid, or your favorite one. So it's just like when you load up PowerPoint or any other e-learning makers, you have this menu where you will select the world that you want to jump in. You can be from the inside or the outside. And you can also build up your interaction with this visual scripting tool. So that is the update version, differently than the one I show you in the tech demo. So you have a trees of access of a multitude of interaction. And that's in China right now. They use it in university and in high school. And that's improved a lot concentration, actually by 6. And that is results showed from EEG. So electroencephalogram. It's hard to say in English, actually. So it's really improved people to become much more smarter. So that's StellarX, and this is what we do at OVA. Thank you all.
Thank you, Harold. Very technical project. This sounds very interesting. So let's ask the jury members what they think.
Could you tell us how much time is saved? I mean, I'm assuming you still have to create the objects and then you have to put them in. How much? What does that save the developer in the process?
Yeah, of course. So there is many 3D objects that you can access for free or for really cheap on Sketchfab. So this part will be fast if you download it. Modeling an object from scratch depends on the skills you got. But we do the assembling. So, the first one I showcased with trees and grass and all that stuff is mainly design thinking. It will take you, I don't know, an hour if you are creative, or maybe 2 if you're not. Yeah.
Thank you. My question is, at what stage are you today? Like how OVA is valued, and how easy it was for you finding investors to make sure that your product could scale up?
Cool. Good question. I'm glad you asked it. Actually, I didn't mention it. So we raised 2 million. So we are a 2014 startup, 6 years in February. We raised 2 million in the past in 2017. Now I'm raising 10 million US. With the 10, I will have a war chest of 2 million, and the rest will go in operation, marketing, and pushing a little bit more the R&D, because we talk about edge technology here. And so our first market is Canada, and now we are exporting to China. So this is how I see the next step of scaling. Because the first money we received came from Taiwan, a Taiwanese Chinese fund. So that's the milestone we achieved now. Yeah.
Can I just ask you can I just ask you what inspired you to do this?
Yes, of course. So actually, I'm an old-time gamer. I used to play this video game called Tony Hawk Pro Skater, and it's a skateboard video game. And you have this skate park creator where you can create your own skate park. And actually, I remember when I was 14 years old and I was playing and making my own skate park, how fun it was. So I say, how can we bring this inner child where we can be making like training stuff, but having fun building it? So this is where it all started.
Thank you. This is fantastic just to see the technology, but also to see how it can be applied in real-world learning solutions in different sectors. Just some feedback on how it could be presented, because you use lots of technical terms. I'm a computer engineer, so I understood everything.
Good, thanks.
But a lot of people in the audience might not understand what you're saying.
Perfect.
So being a techie, it's easy to get carried away with exciting, cool stuff, but it's important to take the audience with you.
No, you're
So
right.
that's a piece of advice. The second thing, specifically for you as you're looking to scale, what's your sort of value proposition to an investor?
Yeah.
What's the business model?
So the business model right now, there is 3 different options. The first one is when you are a blue chip customer, such as Bombardier, it's $500 per month per user, so really expensive. When you are a school for the creators, so the professor, is $20 per month per user, and for the kids is it's $5 per year. So that's how we want to go from B2G-ish to B2B2C. So that's the business model. So we had $2 million in revenue last year. Now we want to go to 3.5, and the next milestone will be 7. So the main goal is to double, and triple.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
Cool, thanks.
Perfect. Thank you very much for the time. I don't know what you guys think, what he looks like from there, but from the side, he looks like a young Keanu Reeves.
Oh, thanks.
All right.
Matrix style.
Okay, so last but not least, the final speaker for this session, we have Iman Al-Kuwari. She's Operations Specialist for the Ministry of Transportation and Communications. Please give her a warm welcome to the stage. There you go. And your time starts.
Hello, everyone.
now.
It's a pleasure for me to be here and speaking about this particular project, which is very close to my heart. So at Digital Society sector, where I work at the Ministry of Transport and Communication, we look at all the segments of society and their digital needs and ICT skills in the country. And we look at the different age groups. And in particular, in here, I'm looking at the age group of the young youth, the adults. And they are pretty advanced users of technology. Actually, their teachers are complaining that they're telling them how to use the technology in classes. So what can we do to them more to actually make them actually be driven to actually join the workforce in the ICT market? So this is one of the goals of the digital society sector in the country. So what I did was a rigorous activity of looking at the Qatari curriculum, of what are they exposed to. And the kids are exposed to programming, robotics, and all the advanced content. So what else can we give them more that makes them engaged? So during my analysis, I realized that the kids are exposed to small parts of these things, small aspects and glimpses that does not allow them to have the full exposure and actually appreciation of these technologies and how it can actually impact their lives. So this is when we came up with the concept of creating a digital Fab Lab makerspace that focuses on these skills for kids to be exposed to the full cycle of development, from ideation, from analyzing a problem, ideation, designing, and prototyping. So we created Studio 56. Studio 56 has 3 focus areas, which is software, digital fabrication and prototyping, and collaboration. Because if you don't collaborate, if you don't interact, if you don't have the engagement with your colleagues and your friends, you will not be able to grow and actually challenge each other. So a collaboration area in the design was very, very important. For us also, we wanted also the youth to also be global citizens. So, and also thinkers. So we want them to be aware of the Qatari context. That's why we brought challenges from the 2030 vision. But also we looked at the SDGs from the United Nations and a Singularity University. And we focus on emerging technologies. This is our focus in this area, because we're focusing on developing their skills and disruptive technologies, because we're trying to prepare the age group, the targeted age group, for a market that has jobs that we still don't know about. That's why we're trying to create these challenges. One of the things that we have conducted after we established and created this special curriculum that involved all the challenges from the 2030 vision, the SDGs, and Singularity University, we tried to create an environment that triggers their innovation, that makes them creative, because at the end of the day, we don't want to create only consumers of technology. We want to have innovators and creators. We want the space to make them actually trigger their innovation to develop what they think. So in the workshop that we're holding sessions at Studio 56, we had a lot of different things. One of the examples was a mission to Mars. They had to develop a video game, Mission to Mars. And what our pedagogy, we don't actually instruct the kids to do everything step by step, because that's what the books do at the schools. So what we want is trigger their imagination. So we tell them the limitations, the challenges that people that would have in living in Mars. So they created, each group of kids actually created a video game related with these limitations. And I just cannot describe for you the level of creativity and imagination. Actually, one of our edutech engineers sitting here, he was going through them every day, and he was like, I cannot believe that this was developed by 9-year-olds. It's amazing. And it had all the qualities of a video game. It had the challenge that we told them, and this is what we achieved out of this. This is one example, and we conducted 60 more. This year we reached over 2,500 kids. So for us was one of the challenges, one of the things that we wanted to achieve is make them unlearn to become consumers and relearn that they can develop their skills to become actually creative innovators of technology. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Emad. So we'll open the mic for the jury to hear what they have to say. You have 4 minutes, and time starts now.
Thank you. I like the way that you foster creativity into children. It's very, very inspiring. My question is, how do you plan to scale up to reach more children and potentially to transfer this capacity to the schools and introduce it into the curriculum of
So fortunately in Qatar, the country is addressing this actively, and there is a lot of rich content that's addressing the development of skills. But for us, we want to do it as an extracurricular activity. So we want the parents to bring their children, or even the enthusiastic kids, to come after school and engage in our space. To know that there's the potential of engaging with technology is not something that you have to do with books. You can do it through your environment, with your friends, for fun. Yeah.
Thank you. It was really fantastic to hear the work that you're doing. Just a quick follow-up question. In terms of accessibility, and the people who need it the most might not be the ones who come to the studio. Yeah. So how do you engage those who are not interested in game design or digital technology?
So what we did the first few periods that we realized, we actually masked the workshop names. We don't tell them you're coming to do a video game or you're coming to do Arduino and physics. We actually give them creative names like Mission to Mars or robo chasing and stuff. We masked these workshops. So even when the parents actually told their kids that this is happening, they actually think they're coming for, which is true, they're coming for a fun environment and engaging. So this is how it worked for us, because we're actually giving them an experience of something that's new and not typical, because the titles in the books that you get, introduction to something like that, they don't want to hear that, so we gave them this interesting names. Yeah. That's good. Thank you. I actually bought you time again.
I have one more question.
Okay.
Can you tell us a little bit about how long each of the programs is, and then what is the cost per student?
Okay, so fortunately this program is fully funded by the government in all aspects, and so we
what is the cost of delivery?
of delivery. So it's a 5-year program, and we have a quite large budget from the government. It's over $3 million to operate for 5 years, and we're trying to reach as much kids as possible. And we have, and soon we're gonna get our own dedicated space. For me, my call is actually to find more edutech engineers because the demand is very high, and we're trying to reach as much as possible. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I'm very proud of this group of speakers. They've kind of done a lot, and they've said a lot, but they've done it under the time allotted. So, kudos to you and to the jury members, keeping it concise. I'd like to ask the jury members to take some time to deliberate now to kind of give us a verdict on who they thought, took the prize today, at least who won. We'll give them just a couple of minutes, and then we'll reconvene. Okay, we're back. Ladies and gentlemen, I would thank you for your patience. It was a bit heated over there. I kind of just, shortly assisted what they were doing, and they were even asking for a tie. But if it was out of 8, I would have said a tie would have been nice. But out of 6, I think we need to kind of at least have one clear favorite, right? So without further ado, I'll ask Ben to mention who the winner is.
So the winner is Lusanda from the Dream Factory Foundation.
Come on, I want to hear. Congratulations to you. I mean, and to everybody else. I don't believe in, we're here on a very important theme of education. There is no winners or losers in education. You just learn and you keep on growing. You learn and you keep on growing. So everybody here is doing something amazing. Your contributions are making tons of differences in children's lives all over the world. So keep on doing it. And any way we can help, I mean, this is exactly what we're here for, to kind of help push you forward and make this even much more impactful than it already is. With that, we come to the end of this Pitch It session for today. I've really had a great time learning myself. My first session, I think I was like this. Second session, I was getting a bit more comfortable. Now I think I feel like I'm amongst family. So we want to thank you, the audience, for your attention and your patience. And we want to thank, like I said, Mona for her great note-taking skills. The jury panel here, Ben, Yasmine, Joysy, and Syeda, Malaika, and everybody else who was involved, Sigrid, Simon, and Stefan. Thank you very much, everybody, and enjoy the rest of the event. Enjoy tomorrow, and I hope to see you at another WISE. My name is Sulaiman. Bye again. Thank you very much.